AHAT a lay flat and all that. We're here for another episode of AHAT Live. It's going down. I wanted to do this special AHAT Live because Iron Mike Tyson came out with a big announcement. He announced that he is going to get back in boxing and he's going to have a boxing match against Roy Jones on September 12th. And I wanted to talk about this event and talk about the whole league that Mike Tyson is creating, if you guys haven't heard about it. So him and Roy Jones, they're going to have an exhibition boxing match. And I think it's going to be like 10 rounds or something like that. But not only that, Mike Tyson is making a whole league out of it. And it's called Mike Tyson's League of Legends. And I think it's a brilliant idea because I think it's kind of just expanding on what Ice Cube did with the Big Three. Ice Cube's Big Three, he has retired NBA players playing basketball. Well, Iron Mike Tyson is not being specific and doing it just for boxing. Iron Mike Tyson, his Mike Tyson's League of Legends, or no, it's called Legends Only League. Mike Tyson's Legend Only League. So he's not being specific to just boxing. He said that he wants to do like football. He wants to do like basketball. He said he wanted to maybe see somebody like Allen Iverson playing one-on-one basketball against somebody else. And of course he's going to do boxers. That's why he's starting it off with him versus Roy Jones, which I'm going to break down that fight specifically because it's a very interesting boxing match. Leave some comments and let me know what y'all think. Who's going to win, Mike Tyson or Roy Jones? Or tell me what you think about Mike Tyson creating his league, Legends Only League. But so he wants to do other sports. And I think it's a brilliant strategy because I just seen on, what was it? It might have been on Instagram or it might have been on YouTube. But Terrell Owens just had a race with that one running back from the Chiefs who's supposed to be like the fastest running back in or the fastest player in the NFL, and they had a race, and he could do that in Mike Tyson's Legend Only League. He could have some like Terrell Owens race Ocho Cinco, or he could have Oscar De La Hoya fight Sugar Shane Mosley. They both retired, but who would win now if they fought? You know what I'm saying? So I think it's a lot of opportunity in there. And somebody said, I'm scared for Roy Jones. I'm going to break down that fight in a minute, man. So hold on. Karen's ex. Let me see. Bob said he's going to kill Jones. He'd kill Mayweather also. Yeah, of course he'd kill Mayweather. Mayweather's super tiny compared to Tyson or Roy Jones. But we're going to talk about both of them, and I'm going to line up that match. But first, I wanted to just give a shout-out to Mike Tyson because I think him coming up with Mike Tyson's Legends Only League is like a brilliant idea, especially while we're all locked down. You could do these individual boxing matches. He said he wanted to even do UFC, so that would be dope. But Mike Tyson and Roy Jones is going down September 12th in California at the Dignity Theater Sports Park in Carson, California. I might have to roll out for that. I don't know how, if it's probably going to be pay-per-view or televised or something like that, but I'd like to be in the building. But, you know, considering social distancing, I don't know how they're going to do that event, so we'll have to see. But let's line it up. So now let's look at the tail of the tape from Mike Tyson and Roy Jones since they're about to fight. Let's look at the tail of the tape real quick. All right, so over their careers, Tyson has 50 wins, 6 losses. And Roy Jones has 66 wins and 9 losses. Out of Tyson's 50 wins, 44 of those are knockouts. Out of Roy Jones's 66 victories, 47 of those are knockouts. But check this out, on their losses. So Mike Tyson has 6 losses. Roy Jones has 9 losses. 5 of Tyson's losses, he was knocked out or it was stopped. Technical knockout or KO. And 5 of Roy Jones' 9 losses were KOs. So they both been knocked out 5 times. Okay. So how old are they? All right, Mike Tyson is 54 and Roy Jones is 51. Okay, so Roy Jones is younger. He's 3 years younger. Mike Tyson's last fight was in 2005, 15 years ago. That's a long-ass time for a fighter to be off. Like, that's insane long time, right? We all could agree to that. Roy Jones' last fight was in 2018. So he's only been inactive boxing for 2 years. So I think that might play a key, that might be an important factor in this fight, okay? And out of their last 4 fights, let's compare their last 4 fights. Mike Tyson's last 4 fights, he has 1 win and 3 losses. And one of those was to Lennox Lewis. And 2 of those losses were to fighters that, you know, they're not household names. Roy Jones in his last 4 fights is 4-0. And he actually won like some bootleg belt. He actually has like a bootleg belt. It's some belt that ain't even worth mentioning. I can't even remember the name of it. So nobody respects that belt that Roy Jones has right now. All right. Roy Jones is a light heavyweight, if I'm not mistaken. Tyson is a heavyweight. So Tyson definitely has an advantage when it comes to weight. But Roy Jones did fight at heavyweight one time, and he actually won one of the heavyweight belts. Let me see, what are their current weights? Yeah, I don't know their current weights. I don't really know. But Roy Jones' last fight was light heavyweight, and of course Tyson's always been a heavyweight. So heavyweight, I think, is like 215 pounds up, and I think light heavyweight is like 200 to 215 or 200 to 205, something like that. All right. How many rounds? I think it's going to be 8. I think it's going to be 8 rounds, if I'm not mistaken. That fight's going to be 8 rounds. Okay, so when you look at to the inactivity, like Roy Jones has a superior advantage in that. He's only been inactive 2 years. Mike Tyson's been inactive for 15 years. Roy Jones is 3 years younger. So he has another advantage right there. Reach. Roy Jones has a 74-inch reach. Mike Tyson has a 71-inch reach. So Roy Jones has an advantage on that aspect as well. So when I looked at Roy Jones' last fight, I was like, okay, Roy Jones is lighter. He's not as big as Mike Tyson. He's taller, but Mike Tyson's been a heavyweight his whole boxing career, so he's just used to fighting at a heavier weight. So I was like, okay, there's no way that Roy Jones could just stand there and box with Tyson. He would have to move around. If he could move around, he could get that. So I looked at Roy Jones' last fight, and he don't move around. He was flat-footed. Dude had him on the ropes. This wasn't even like a great fighter. This was like some Joe Smo that has a decent record but hasn't really fought nobody. And this dude was able to get Roy Jones on the ropes. Roy Jones was flat-foot. They say in boxing, the first thing to go is your legs. The last thing to go is your power. So does Tyson still have power? Yes, I would say hell yeah to that. Does Roy Jones have the legs to move around and avoid that power? Like, that's what I don't have faith in. I think Tyson is going to kill Roy Jones in this. I think he's going to knock him out in the first round, or it's just going to be bad because Roy Jones is not used to doing a lot of dancing around. Normally, like if you really pay, I was a big Roy Jones fan, and people were running from Roy Jones, and he'd have to walk them down, catch up to him. So I got Tyson knocking him out, And nope, he doesn't really have a speed advantage. Who? Roy Jones? Yeah, not on hand advantage. He doesn't. Tyson has too much of a weight advantage. Jones couldn't take Tarver's punching on him. I agree. I agree with you, Bob. Let's see. Wow, I honestly haven't watched you in a minute. Have you seen Kid Domes lately? I know it's completely off topic. Yeah, I just did a live stream with Domes just a little while. Go back on the recent AHAT videos, and we talked about everything he was on. He even dropped a dope-ass freestyle at the end of that. He said, I be seeing Donnie Menace all the time. Who's that? Victor 702. Okay, shout out to him. I hope Roy Jones wins. Paid in full says, damn, dude, chill out. First round. Disrespected Roy Jones like that. Paid in full. They're like that. Nah, bro, because you know, Tyson made the announcement today, right? He was on ESPN First Take. And Max Kellerman, he asked him, he said, like, it's a not a scrimmage, but what is it? It's a exhibition boxing match, right? So he's like, man, is it gonna be like the WWE? Like, are y'all gonna go all out, or how y'all gonna go? And Tyson was like, man, I only know one way to go. And Roy Jones is just gonna have to deal with that. I just go all out. So Roy Jones, yeah, he's not. Just think about it. He's gonna be up on the ropes against Tyson. Roy Jones. I don't care if it is in the first round. Like, he not going to be able to handle that. Hey, my boy Nove up in the building. Where you at, Nove? We got to run that chest fade. Let me see. Roy Jones just may pass away from this fight. Damn. Like that, Nove. Yeah, it's going to be rough for him. Like, Nove, it's hard for me to see Roy Jones getting out of the first round. But let's talk about, I'm going to come back to the actual fight, but let's talk about Mike Tyson's Legends Only League. So he said he didn't want to pin it down to just boxing. He wants to do other sports, maybe like basketball, one-on-one basketball. He said something about football and, of course, boxing. But I remember back in the day, you guys probably haven't even seen this, but you could check this out online. Kareem Abdul-Jabbar played Dr. J one-on-one in basketball, and it's online. I seen that. And I was like, in my mind, I'm like, damn, Kareem gonna kill him. And so I watched it, and Kareem killed Dr. J. But that just shows you that people were interested in these types of things that Mike Tyson's talking about way back in, I don't know when they played, in the 80s or the 90s. And then also in football, did you guys know that, I had to look this up. I did a little research. Check this out. This is interesting. Everybody that rocks with sports and football. Jim Brown, you know, one of the greatest running backs of all time, and Franco Harris, they always had like some type of feud or something I was reading about. And they did this thing called the I Challenge You, where Jim Brown and Franco Harris, who was like the top running backs in their day, after they retired, a couple years after they retired, they did an I Challenge You, and it was a 2-day challenge thing. They did a 40-yard dash. They played one-on-one basketball, and they did racquetball. And I remember seeing the 40-yard dash. It used to be online, but I looked at it before I did this stream, and I couldn't find it. But if you type it up, Jim Brown versus Franco Harris, I Challenge You, you'll find out articles about it. I couldn't find the footage, but the articles are still out there. So way back, I think that happened in like the late 80s or the mid 80s or something like that. They were both retired. But people were interested in that. And like Ice Cube has the big three, that's 3-on-3 NBA retired basketball players playing against each other. So there's interest in seeing these legends that we grew up watching as sports fans. And we want to see what they could do now. Like, I would be interested in seeing Terrell Owens race another football player like Randy Moss. Think Terrell Owens and Randy Moss doing a 40-yard dash if they're both in shape. I know Terrell Owens is, because I just seen him, and he ran like on YouTube or Twitter yesterday. I seen it. He ran like 4.44 in the 40. So he's still blazing. But I'd like to see Terrell Owens race, a legendary receiver. What about Jerry Rice? Jerry Rice probably too old, but you know, I wouldn't mind seeing something like that. Let me go to these comments real quick. I see a lot of comments. All right. I am the age of that. Got to see both their careers in full. They are both great. Tyson is going to kill him. I agree with you, Bob. Mike is going to give Roy that body work. Yeah, he is, man. It's just if Roy Jones was used to using his wheels and using his legs and like a more of a Muhammad Ali type fighter, he would actually have a chance because he fought a heavyweight before. He won the heavyweight belt before. But it was versus, I can't even remember the dude that Roy Jones won the heavyweight belt from. But it was a smaller heavyweight, somebody that wasn't known for their power. And the fact that Roy Jones is not accustomed to using his legs in a boxing match is why he's not going to be able to handle this. All right, let me go back to these comments. I am the only one that wants them to wear it. Am I the only one that wants them to wear headgear? I think you are, but I share your concern. Who is that? Electric Funk. I share your concern because Roy Jones, it seems like he's already losing some of his articulation when he talks. And so it seems like he's at the early stages of being punch drunk. So I'm a little worried about Roy Jones in that aspect. So I feel your concern, but I think he got it in him to do this without headgear. It would break my heart seeing these two turn into what happened to Muhammad Ali. I'm right there with you, man. I don't want to see nobody go out of boxing like that. I love these boxers. I love what they do. They trying to provide for their families. And us as fans, we got to let them know that. Like, I don't want to see Holyfield. Like, Holyfield's, he's showing in his speech, he's showing too much being drunk. So I'm glad Mike Tyson is not coming back to fight Evander Holyfield. Even though Evander Holyfield's body is there, his mouth and him talking is not up to speed. So I'm worried about him. All right, I see, who's that? June. He says, rib shots may hurt Roy. Yeah, they are. Real talk. He says Randy Moss versus Jerry Rice would be good. Yeah, I think that'd be hard, huh? I think that'd be dope too. Tyson by Shorokoyan from Hell in round 3. Sharukin, I feel you. Let me see. All right, Planet Earth. At first, I was skeptical, but it sounds like a great idea when you compare Ice Cube, Big 3. Right, yeah. Like, I don't think he's gonna do a lot of basketball. You know, I would actually like him to take out of their sport. Like, I would like to see Randy Moss versus Terrell Owens in one-on-one basketball. Or I would like to see maybe some baseball players, they just do a home run derby. Or let's see. Or you get 2 retired basketball players and get them boxing. What if you got Shaq and Barkley? Well, they kind of too old, but just think like Shaq and Barkley maybe like 10 years ago or 5 years ago doing a exhibition boxing match. I'd like to see that every time. But I got a video on the AHAT YouTube channel with it's a compilation of all the times Barkley and Shaq then got into little scuffles or whatever, because they've been wrestling and acting like they fighting for years, and it's something to me. Evander Holyfield was kryptonite to that boy. Hey, for real, because he was a counter puncher. Like, Holyfield was like, in that era, like, he was like the only heavyweight that was a real boxer. Like, he started as a cruiserweight and went up to that. So he would use all the different types of punches, jabs, go in and go out. A lot of these dudes was just like Lennox Lewis, just flat-footed, even though Lennox Lewis was one of the coldest out there. Flat-footed, just walking forward, no footwork really, just winning on their size and strength. You feel me? Let me go back to this. All right, let's see. Electric Funk. This will be an exhibition for one round. These two are way too competitive. Roy's jab is going to control this fight or not. No, go watch Roy Jones fight. Let me see if I can pull it up. I'm going to pull up Roy Jones' last fight. I had it up. Let me see. And it was terrible. Like, he's just on the ropes. I'm going to show you. Like, this is... Can y'all see that? I'm gonna play it. Turn this volume down. And let me see. Can y'all see that fight? Y'all see it? All right, look. Roy Jones, this is the second round. And watch how little Roy Jones uses his feet. Is it showing the fight to y'all? Watch how little he's using his feet. This is Roy Jones' last fight. Like, how is he gonna? This is gonna be Tyson coming towards him. This ain't this dude right here. Look, Roy Jones is up against the ropes against this dude that don't have no reason pinning Roy Jones up against the ropes. Watch him get Roy Jones back up against the ropes, because Roy Jones is trying to conserve energy. Roy Jones is trying to conserve energy. He's trying not to have to use his legs, because that's the first thing to go. And this dude putting him up against the rope. This is the second round against this guy. What's Tyson going to do? When Tyson's whole game is going to be trying to get Roy Jones up against the ropes and leaning on him and pushing him up against the ropes and throwing them power blows. You feel me? Y'all want me to give me a thumbs up if y'all want me to pull up Tyson's last fight. I remember Tyson's last fight. At the end of Tyson's fight, it was a real cold piece what Tyson said, man. He said, I can't remember his exact words, but Tyson basically said, if I can't beat this caliber of fighter, I don't need to be fighting no more. And Tyson retired after that, because dude was so sorry that he lost to. He was like, man, I don't want the fuck. All right, I think we back on. Nah, let's see. Is it back on? My stream fucked up. Are we back on? Fuck it. All right, are we back on? Are we back on? I think we back on, y'all. All right, so I want y'all to give me a thumbs up. My prediction is that Mike Tyson, sorry about that, the internet connection got disrupted for a quick minute. I'm glad y'all stuck with me. But all right, give me a thumbs up if you think that Mike Tyson is going to be able to knock out and beat Roy Jones. Thumbs up for everybody that agrees with me. And also like this video. Go ahead and like this video. But give me a thumbs up if you agree with me. I want to see who agrees with me that Mike Tyson is going to be able to knock out Roy Jones. Who agrees with me? Y'all agree with me or not? What's popping? I'm trying to see if my prediction holds any weight out there. Y'all believe in my opinion? Okay, June agrees. And the reason I say that, June, is like Roy Jones just don't know how to use his legs. Yeah, how's he going to get out the way? How is he going to be able to maneuver when Mike Tyson is putting all this pressure on him, and Roy Jones is not known for being able to use his footwork to get out of trouble? Like, he's, especially in the latter part of his career, he's more of a stationary fighter. So it's just going to be hard for Roy Jones to be able to hang. So what do you guys think of Mike Tyson's Legend Only League? The fact that he's working with all these retired athletes, he wants to do different sports. Y'all think it's a good idea or not? I think it's an excellent idea. I think it's pretty amazing. Because I'm interested in seeing, I would like to see Oscar De La Hoya. I heard Oscar De La Hoya is supposed to come back and start boxing. So I'd like to see that. What else? Let me see. Electric Funk says, yo, on a side note, I want to thank you for all the work you put in battle rap world over the years. Love from NYC. Oh, man, that's much love, Electric Funk. I appreciate that, man. I enjoy myself, man, doing all the rap battles and all that. I mean, I'm not into it like I used to. I don't really pay attention to a lot of the battle rap stuff that's going on, only like the bigger events. But, you know, when I was doing it, I loved it. I still follow certain battlers. I still follow Danny, Geechee Gotti, you know what I'm saying? I'm still trying to see what the homies are doing. Daylight, Disaster, Cassidy, since he been rocking with me. I follow him a lot. But yeah, I appreciate it, man. We had fun holding down AHAT, all our divisions. Much respect to New York and everybody that was rocking with us from New York. It's a trip, man. When I was doing AHAT and I would look at the viewership, like the majority of our viewers were from the East Coast and specifically New York. Like we had more viewers in New York than we had in California, than we had in Vegas. Vegas is such a small population, but yeah, much love to that, man, and much respect for that positive remark, man. So just check me out, man. We doing these videos. I think Roy Jones is gonna get knocked out by Mike Tyson. Oh, let me tell y'all this. One time I had a chance to meet Mike Tyson, man. My brother had a party out here in Vegas at the Ice House Lounge, and I met Mike Tyson. And two things that stood out to me when I met Mike Tyson. One was how short he was. You know what I'm saying? Like, he's really like 5'10". Like, they might say I used to see like 5'11" or whatever. He's like 5'9", 5'10". But I shook his hand, said what's up to him. He was super humble. Like, he like bowed down kind of like when he met me, like just being super humble. Like, this was when he was in that super humble stage. But when I shook his hand was so thick, it was like three people's hands. It was like three hands together. That's how thick his hand was. Like, it just blew my mind. Like, damn, this is like a glove. This ain't no hand. It's like a piece of slab of concrete that I'm shaking. This old thick hand concrete fist dude right here. You know what I'm saying? I just tripped out. Like, this dude's hand. Like, if you ever shake Tyson's hand, just peep how thick his hand is. I was just like, what in the world is this? Let me see this comment from Molo Vision. He says, if Roy walks in bumping, y'all must have forgot he automatically wins. Yeah, that was the jam. Hey, Roy Jones used to spit some bars, man. He all right. I got much respect for him. But check this out. I had one other interaction with Mike Tyson, right? So if you guys don't know, I work at a radio station, right? And I had they like at the last minute, they just said, hey, we want you to interview Mike Tyson. I was like, oh, hell yeah. So they was like, he's going to call in, blah, 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 set it up. So, all right, I'm doing my radio show, right? And then the phone rings and I answer it, and it's somebody on the other line, and they say, this is Mike Tyson. And it didn't sound like Mike Tyson, right? You know, we all accustomed to hearing what he sounds like on TV or whatever. So it didn't sound like what I heard on TV. And I was like, man, this ain't Mike Tyson. And this dude went off on me. He started blasting on me. Like, he literally punked me on the phone, and his response, I could tell it was Mike Tyson. I could hear, recognize his voice. But when he first came on there, he was like so nice or whatever. I just couldn't recognize it as Tyson. But when he started blasting on me like, man, who is you? I don't know who you are. And just banging on me, you know what I'm saying? Like, Mike Tyson ain't no joke, man. He'll still punk fools, man. He punked me on the phone, though. How you punk somebody on the phone? That fool punked me on the phone. Let me see. Sincere Israel, love from NYC. Used to like MC Quest during your league. Where he go? He's still out here in Vegas doing his thing. You know, he's still grinding. He just ain't been battling. It's like a lot of the Vegas battlers, they battled on AHAT, and then when we stopped doing the battles, they stopped battling. And a lot of them stopped battling before AHAT, man. It's just like on the East Coast, like them dudes is battling. They getting 40 and getting in their 40s and in their 40s. Like out here in Vegas, fools was retiring when they was like 20. Like Domes was probably like 23 the last times he battled. Donnie Menace was probably 20-something. Fats 20-something. Young 20-something. Like Artie was 20-something. Noel was 20-something. You know what I'm saying? Youngsters, and they just stopped early, man. But does anybody out there think Roy Jones is gonna win? I think Tyson gonna KO him. Who thinks Roy Jones is gonna win? Anybody? Nobody. If Mike wears the classic black trunks, it's over. I feel you. I know he is. All right, man. I appreciate y'all tuning in. I'm definitely going to watch this fight. I hope y'all watch this fight. If y'all see that Tyson knock out Roy Jones, y'all got to come back to this video and post a comment and say, OD, you that guy. I need to start betting on what you say in sports. Real talk, man. I'll get with y'all later. Y'all stay up, man. Stay blessed. Keep your social distancing and check back on the AHAT YouTube channel. I'm going to be dropping videos talking about certain things, mostly talking with people, though. You know what I'm saying? I'm not trying to be up here dolo. I'm going to be talking to people that might catch your interest, man. Y'all stay safe and blessed. Peace.